Cancer, welcome to the channel. This is your July soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, this is for you. Happy solar returns. It is your month and your time to shine. It's Romy here. I appreciate your support of my work and tuning into the channel. We're opening up with the energy of the Six of Cups, and you are finding your way this month, but there is a need, I think, to find context in where you've been, to really recognize how far you've come. And there's a turning point that really is highlighted to you through the month of July, because I see you devoting to something incredibly personal and incredibly significant, and perhaps you haven't had the opportunity, or you've been compromised in some way or held back, or there has been some sort of blockage, and it feels like now's the time to finally dedicate yourself and give the time and energy that this deserves. Now, July is one of these months where we are going to run into quite a significant amount of distractions and outside interference. And this nuisance energy, it's not as seismic as what we go through in eclipse season, but it certainly feels like we're just coming up against test after test after test. And in a way you are, because these are your cosmic tests. Now you're going to ace it, and you have to move into this month, really with this energy of love and compassion, with deep resolve and clear intention, knowing that you have done the work in so many areas of your life, and that this is an opportunity as we move more deeply into retrograde energy for things to come back around that are blessings. And even where they're challenges, what happens is that we're in an energy and a mindset where we can bring resolution. Okay, so we're going to move into the month, full moon in Capricorn on the 3rd, coming in at 11 degrees, highlighting your 7th house, which tells me that there's a key revelation and discovery that's coming to light with a specific relationship for you. It may not be romantic, but there's something being highlighted around a specific connection. This certainly feels like it could be somebody from the past, or somebody that you've had a long time connection with. Now, of course, full moon energy brings things to fruition, to a point of completion. Sometimes that brings a little drama, revelation to the surface, but ultimately the clearing that's needed and necessary for you as we sort of embark on this journey in your solar returns is really going to help you to see things more clearly, put things in the right context and light for you, to help you make better decisions. It's also going to force you to release and relinquish control. If you've specifically, in regards to this individual, been trying to control the outcome, this, we understand, really limits our choices and ends up eroding trust. And so, whatever it is that needs to be understood by you, there's a deeply intuitive knowing that's coming around based on what you see or what comes to light, that is going to help you to trust more fervently what the next right and logical step for you is. Now, the High Priestess also keeps a quiet counsel, so even if there is a little drama, and we of course have this hot, passionate energy around this month, you're also being invited to sort of try to remain quite cool and passive and observe and witness everything before you make the move or impulsively say something that, you might end up sort of having to backtrack or feel a little bit regretful over. But again, High Priestess suggests to me that what does come to light, the information that you are, then coming into contact with, is something that you already felt, you already sensed this to be true. So it doesn't even come as like a huge surprise or shock. So as we move beyond this full moon energy, we're going to see Pallas Athena, the asteroid goddess, move into Virgo. We're also the following day going to see Mars shifting into the sign of Virgo. Now this is going to help us create a new strategy for mind, body and soul. Very important for you this month, especially if there's a lot of outside distractions and energies going on, because you need to keep your focus and intention towards what this key thing that you're devoting yourself to is about. That means you have to stop caretaking, saving, and trying to manage the emotional experiences of other people, and you have to focus that inwards. Now remember, in Virgo energy, we can get a little bit overly critical, and we don't want to wage war on ourselves. You know, just like the art of war says, the greatest victory is that which requires no battle. So I think the energy around that 9th, 10th is going to be really important, especially if you're having to negotiate anything, you know, whether that be more time, whether that be, you know, something professional, especially with that full moon Capricorn energy. There could be something going on with your career and your work that you have to kind of get, you know, all of the details and all of the ensuring that everybody really understands what your position is. I think that's going to be very important to you around the 9th, 10th of the month, okay? You're also, because this is your solar returns, Cancer, changing perceptions through the course of July because you're bringing something new to the table. So in regards to that, sometimes we have to sort of look back for context to realize how far we've come. And, you know, this is definitely a month where experimentation will be helpful for you. You know, we're not always encouraged to sort of put in significant commitments, you know, when we're moving through a shadow and then into the Venus retrograde transit, which is going to kick off on the 22nd. Come back to that shortly, but there's definitely this sense of, you know, playing with different possibilities and trying to have some fun with that, because there's still this really joyful, passionate, kind of adventurous sort of feeling that's bubbling up within you, that's helping you to feel like, do you know what, this is possible and I might just pull this off. And I really think that you have that capacity through the course of July. Now, the Seven of Wands, you know, is telling me you have to remember that everyone has their own rhythm and pace in life, and everyone is in a different season, and everyone is destined to have things happen in a different time. And, you know, you're still evolving and coming into your own in so many different areas. And so you cannot compare, because it is a completely inaccurate reflection of actually how much things are coalescing for you. And if you're not careful and you end up doing too much of that, or looking around and sort of comparing where you are, you know, to how others have already moved past or already achieved something, then, you know, you're likely to move into a more defensive, hostile stance, because there's that energy of insecurity that's bubbling up and making you feel like I've missed my chance, or I've not done something correctly, or I've not understood this, or I've been left behind. And so we have to maintain that focus and that deep sense of belief. Now, again, I think that the Pallas Athena Virgo, Mars Virgo energy can be really supportive as you put this new strategy that's uniquely yours. Just remember to communicate that position to people. They need to know how you're feeling, because as you find your way and you keep coming up against constant distractions and interference perhaps from well-meaning people, you know, or those that think they know what, you know, you need or what it is that you're asking for, you know, I have a sense that they're going to be a little bit surprised when you actually really communicate what the truth is and where you really are feeling into things. You also, of course, have to create the space and the place that your heart is revealing to you. What do I mean by that? You know, it's not going to exist until you create it in your mind, in your affirmations, in your thoughts, in your words. So if you're looking out and feeling a little lost or uncertain as like, how do I attain this life that I'm trying to carve out for myself? You know, Temperance is reminding you around the divine timing of this, but also about finding balance within yourself and calling into being, because you're vibrating the whole energy of that. Now, we have on the 17th, of course, this beautiful new moon in your sign coming in at 25 degrees. The same day, the North Node is going to shift into Aries. And, you know, a reminder that North Node energy is all about growth and fulfillment, you know, the highest expression of our destiny. So this is your reset. This is your opportunity to really focus and be absolutely deliberate about what matters most to you, where you feel called to, and how you're going to start making those adjustments, however small, in your life to really reflect where you're going, not where you've been. This is going to be helpful because, of course, as we move past this energy, we're going to bump up against Venus going retrograde in Leo. Now, we talked a little bit about that last month and how, you know, it can bring about a lot of blessings, but also a lot of challenges because so much will have to be revisited and reconsidered. Of course, Venus rules our financial story, our money story, our prosperity consciousness, our value system, our love relationships, how we define beauty. And so all of these areas, and, you know, for you with Leo being in that second house, it's almost like they're amplified further because Venus is the ruler here. And so, you know, what you might be coming up against is situations where there has been boom or bust. And, you know, what you're trying to find is, as Temperance says, that middle ground. Have I learned from the past? And if people or situations are coming back around, you know, in one sense, it could be all of the work you've invested, how far you've, you know, come is also then rewarded. And so there could be this beautiful karmic boost showing up. But in another sense, it could highlight very clearly where something hasn't been resolved or dealt with. Especially with Chiron going retrograde the next day, it's likely that it's going to be those tender parts that you'd rather ignore and have disowned and sort of put to one side. But again, you know, this is such a beautiful opportunity for you to kind of really come to terms and resolve something for yourself so that you don't carry this pattern with you. And, you know, I think if you can sort of move into the experience, not with a sense of dread or with a sense of sort of paranoia as what's coming around the corner, but just being deeply present and really allowing these emotions to sort of surface, not feeling defined by them, but genuinely asking yourself, where am I being tested? Where am I being invited to kind of really address something here? Now, just a reminder, you know, when Venus is in retrograde energies, you know, it's not, especially, you know, from a sort of career, financial, money perspective, not always the best time for kind of selling things, because sometimes we don't realize the true value of something. We sell ourselves a little bit short. Conversely, if you are buying something, you could certainly pick up a fantastic deal or be in a really strong negotiating position. But again, you know, we talk about this idea of experimentation, of research, of, you know, building the strategy and perhaps just reviewing and shoring things up in a way that's going to help you feel more secure so that as you come out of that transit, you're really ready to make those firm, committed decisions. An awful lot can start dissolving, especially as we have like Neptune retrograde as well now. So, you know, July is one of these experiences where you may feel things are unraveling or coming a little bit undone. But remember, that isn't to set you back. It's not to punish you. It's basically to show you these are the things that are not quite right. These are not working. There's a better way. There's a better approach. There's a better person, a better energy. And, you know, if you can be open and receptive to that, then very quickly you can see what the upside is going to be. Now, the Queen of Wands comes through for you and gives you a powerful, passionate, energized feeling. So despite the fact that we do have some challenge and some interference moving all the way through July, I have a sense that you're holding your own and you're maintaining enough focus that you just keep allowing things to show up in a more positive way for you. And that will balance itself out. So even if you hit the roadblock, as soon as you accept it and let it teach you what it wants to, then very quickly you're seeing something beneficial come through. And I really feel that that's going to be your experience through the course of this month, okay? So the Queen of Wands also talks to me about loyalty. And with that temperance energy, you know, especially during Venus retrograde, you might feel that that loyalty is coming into question, and you're going to need some time to really figure out how you truly feel, perhaps about a person or about something that's unfolding in regards to that theme. The conflict that might arise, the bickering, the arguments, the general dissatisfaction or disappointment that may come to light again, is not something that is defining your future or what things are going to end up being. It's a sort of necessary part of the process that's helping to strengthen your resolve, okay? So keep that in mind. We have 3 figures here and they're very separated. So there's a disconnection in communication, but they're all standing quite strong and independent in their thinking. You may have a third party interference. There may be 3 people in regards to this whole development around this sense of loyalty, whether this be friendships or, something going on at work or key personal relationships. But again, I think, when I tune into your energy for this month of July, everything is coming through from a very healing energy, and you are finding your way and sort of creating this huge turning point for yourself. So even if there's moments where you feel all over the place, it's not going to derail the progress. Yeah, you really need to hear that. So as the sun shifts into Leo in that second part of the month, same day as Venus goes retrograde, of course, the second house is illuminated, and there's some reevaluation for you around what's important, especially on a material level. There might be some shifts or changes going on in regards to your work. And, Venus retrograde in the second is also going to ask this really important question of you, Cancer, which is, do you enjoy how you make money? And, is that something that feels sustainable to you? Because this is also a month, especially with these Virgo energies coming through and Pallas Athena helping support this, where you're going to start educating yourself to perhaps, have a pivot, make a change in your career or your job, or start to open up what you think is possible in your purpose. So there's going to be a lot being challenged and being asked of you in this area, but what comes from it is going to be deeply satisfying. So keep that in mind, okay? The astrological climate this month is definitely going to get your attention. Yeah, just when you think things are smooth sailing, like something else is going to come around the corner that feels like, oh my goodness, now I have to deal with this too. But, ultimately it sort of hones the focus and it's going to keep you incredibly alert. Yeah. Not to say that you can't get that respite in that time that you need, but I think the alertness is very necessary because you need to understand what's being asked of you and how these energies are challenging you. Okay, so if you're new to the channel, we do the reveal of the final 3 cards in our extended reading. You'll find the link for that in the comment and description box below. Talk for another 25-30 minutes, give you much deeper insight into the month ahead, as well as look at personal questions and a relationship card for you as well. I'm going to go ahead and just pull some clarifying cards for us to also see the direction that we might be taking this reading in for you during that extended. Okay, so just beginning with the 6 of Cups, we've got the Magician coming in. Now, all the decks that I use are listed in the comment and description box underneath, okay? We've got the 6 of Pentacles and Knight of Swords. A lot of coming and going in July, yeah? And, again, the Venus retrograde can bring in a little bit capricious energy. People like changing their mind, what felt certain, what felt like it was a done deal, all of a sudden, being called into question. And, that in and of itself can put us in a little bit of a free fall state. And yet these queens are coming up and wanting you to kind of be stoic and really dig deep in that inner strength that you have. We've got Emperor energy there. There we go, there's our strength showing up. Okay, so Ace of Swords. This is the truth coming through, which is needed where that conflict has arisen. You need to kind of find resolution to it, and it looks like you will. Right, we're going to go ahead and pull from the Oracle cards. So this is Life Soul Vision, which is my Oracle deck. If you're new to the channel, you'll see it shown here, as well as my book, Moon Musings. You can find that over on Amazon. It's on Kindle, paperback, and there'll also be an Audible coming through in July as well, so look out for that. Okay, what do we have? Life Soul Vision. The Wishing Tree. Beautiful, showing up in your solar returns. We've got Earth Star energy, sacred ceremony. Enlightened in the exhale. You know, despite the challenges in the climate astrologically, meaning there's just an awful lot of squares, oppositions, things that are coming up to feel like we're being a little bit backed into a corner. Mercury, I just want to highlight, you know, there's some really nice dates that show up that can help the communication, which is so important, especially if we're sort of feeling the nuisance of all of that coming through. So look out around the 1st, the 6th, the 9th and the 27th. So they're sort of scattered throughout July, and they just feel like these moments of respite where you can kind of find resolve and be able to work through things. That Alchemize the Ache is really highlighting that Chiron retrograde. Of course, these are transits we visit every year, so you know it's not anything that you haven't seen or felt into before. But along with Venus, you know, it definitely puts an extra emphasis around the heart and love relationships, and really being able to heal and address things in that area of your life. Okay, let's have a look at the Ocean Oracle. This month's soul meditations to support you. I've got a beautiful heart healing. I've also created a soul journey to support you with solar flare energy. Just managing these energetic frequencies, so important because we have enough going on in the physical. Okay. Healing waters. Oh, I love that for you, Cancer. Okay, and then we're going to pull a goddess. Oh, there we go. Meleti, flowing. Oh, beautiful. It's really emphasizing that. Okay, if you would like to join me for your extended, I hope you do. I will look forward to continuing this cosmic conversation. Otherwise, have a beautiful solar returns. Enjoy the month. Really enter into it with the love, compassion, and the intention and the resolve of what matters to you. And I will see you again next time. You take good care. Bye for now.